There is a podcast about an island in the North Atlantic where people have been looking for an incredible treasure for more than 200 years.
Hello, and welcome back to Could It Be?
An Oak Island podcast.
We are your hosts, Deidre and Dustin White.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, funny seeing you here.
Yeah, we've had a pretty crazy week.
Pretty interesting. And, also with waiting on a new episode, a new show.
We had to wait an extra week for this, but I think it was well worth the wait.
Yeah.
Like, we had what we thought might be some kind of tag team Maddie Blake special with William Shatner, but there was no Maddie Blake.
A lot of William Shatner.
And that drilling down episode was actually quite awesome.
It was.
I think it blew past almost everybody's expectations because everybody had low expectations, I think.
Well, you know what? So I have seen a ton of mixed feelings. It's either you really loved it or what was this? I didn't learn anything new. Which is really unfortunate because I loved it.
I loved it. I learned a lot of new things. Plus, it's just fun to get a little more background on the people that we already are invested in.
Exactly.
Right? And so, come on. We got so much good stuff with Rick and Marty telling, just stories of how they got into the treasure hunt. We've got, Billy. Oh, my gosh.
Craig. Paul.
All the guys.
I wish we would have had more of that, talking to each guy, what really got them into it, where their origin story is. And it reminded me of a drilling down episode from last year, which was like about the people of the dig. And that one was by far my favorite.
Yep.
So, of course, I like this one a lot.
This is probably my favorite episode of Drilling Down because it was just a lot of fun with William Shatner, because he didn't seem to know a whole bunch about everything as far as Oak Island goes and the what they're doing there. Like he knew, but maybe he was just kind of, for the cameras, because he's trying to tell a story, right?
Oh, well, that's just it. Yeah. As a good interviewer, you're trying to tell a story. You're going to be repeating things and kind of setting it up, set the scene, if you will.
Yeah.
For those types of questions. And he did just that.
Yeah. It was good. It was fun.
Great interviewer.
It was fun.
Yeah. I had a blast.
Yeah. I read something that somebody had posted. It was like a screenshot of the producer, Kevin Burns.
Yeah.
He's a producer of, or one of the head honchos over at Prometheus Entertainment, right? And he had posted that when William Shatner showed up, he was supposed to be there for a half hour, and they thought they might get a couple minutes worth of useful footage to just do whatever with. He ended up staying for over 3 hours and just having a big, long conversation, and it turned into something really special. And it wasn't planned to be a drilling down episode where they would get an hour's worth of content out of it to make a whole episode. So the fact that we got what we did, we're pretty lucky, and it turned out really good.
If he wasn't expecting to be there for more than half an hour, I don't know how you can only spend half an hour at Oak Island, but I mean, that really says a lot then that he was intrigued, and at least I felt come through was he was very taken in by everybody there, and just, I don't know. I think he got a lot out of it, or else he wouldn't have hung out in the war room for 3 hours. It was more than...
But, that's really great for us, but for History Channel, this is probably what's more important for them, is that it intrigued you so much to go look at his show, The Unexplained.
I did.
And
I was digging it.
Yeah, you told me it had vibes of a show you used to watch as a kid.
So I loved Unsolved Mysteries. And this just screamed Unsolved Mysteries. He walks out from behind the screen and he's the narration through it. The Unsolved Mystery guy.
That's his name, Robert Stack. But
Mr. Robert Stack. Mr. William Shatner there had that feeling.
Yeah, so you enjoyed the Unexplained. I came in, like, you had watched an episode or two, and I wasn't at home, but you came in and told me that, and I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but you know what? I guarantee you I'm going to watch it tomorrow night.
Yeah, it even had kind of like its own little theme music that it just, the whole thing felt very Unsolved Mysteries.
It was that kind of package for you, huh?
Yeah, it was. Made me happy inside.
Oh, that's fun. So tomorrow night, they're going to have a new episode. Right now, we're recording this live on Friday.
Yes.
And on Saturday night, I think at 10 p.m., they have a new episode of The Unexplained.
Yes.
And it's William Shatner, but it's going to be an episode about Oak Island. So tune in. Right?
Yeah, I saw Paul on there
talking
and kind of giving us some background. I found it really interesting when he got to talking about the teaser, which actually was hilarious because I wouldn't be scared of a pirate ship called the Teaser either. But there's a lot of knowledge there, and it was really cool to see that.
It was like super cool. So yeah, I'm going to tune into that. I'm excited for it. I was excited to see that episode drilling down, so I give it 2 thumbs up. Or I give it a thumb up. Do you give it a thumb up?
Yeah.
That's 2 thumbs up.
Sorry, 2 thumbs up, go. 1 from each of us.
There you go.
Do you want to share something?
Yeah, I mean, so this has just been a really crazy week as far as Oak Island goes because we had those 2 great episodes. Like the episode that we haven't talked about yet, the main deal that everybody's here to hear us discuss is the new episode. And that was great too. But we had William Shatner. We had like our Oak Island trading cards are a complete set now, and they are sent out to all of our patrons. So thanks to everybody that supported us to make that possible. And we're overwhelmed with the
feedback.
Yeah, the feedback and the responses from people enjoying those cards. So that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
If you want some you go to patreon.com/OakIslandPodcast or...
Okay, that's how you get them every month.
Yeah.
You're set of 6 as soon as they come out. Because we have had such a flood of questions since they came out. We worked all day yesterday, getting the links set up so that you would be able to buy them on our website and be able to buy them on Facebook. I'll flip it so that you can buy them on Facebook. Hopefully, as long as I understand this link correctly, that'll go live today. Otherwise, you can get them on the website, which is OakIslandPodcast.com. Got to get that in because our next set of orders that we'll put in for printing will come from however many orders come.
Yep. So if you want them, there's a way to get them.
Yes.
All right. And one more thing before we get on to this week's episode. We had an awesome thing pop up in our email today. Yeah. We had the voice of The Curse of Oak Island, Mr. Robert Clotworthy, sent us a video via Cameo. And it was pretty awesome, pretty special. I'm going to play it right now through my phone because we don't have it. We just got it. So it's not on our computer yet. But here, listen to what Robert Clotworthy has to say, not just to us, but to all of you listening.
Guys.
Yeah, all of you listening as well. Okay, you ready? Here we go.
Hey there. This is Robert Clotworthy, the voice of America's favorite cable television show on Tuesday nights, The Curse of Oak Island. That's right. We get over 3 million people tuning in each and every week, and I want to say thank you to every single one of you. Also want to give a big shout out to Deidre and Dustin White and their Could It Be an Oak Island podcast. They want to know what my favorite #Clotworthy moment is. Well, my personal favorite is the one that's happening right now, being able to say hey to everyone. So the question is, could it be? The answer is Marty and Rick Lagina, keep digging. Thanks, everybody.
That was fantastic.
How cool was that?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. So
thank you, Robert.
Yeah, thank you, Robert Clotworthy. That was unbelievable. Plus,
dream come true.
Yeah, and, his favorite Clotworthy moment is what's happening right now, right as he's speaking, like, it almost brings a tear to my eye. Okay, not quite, but beautiful stuff. Thank you, Robert. You're awesome. And... now I guess we could talk about the episode, right?
Yeah, we can actually talk about the episode.
All right.
Okay, let's start with the one that started before the episode.
Okay, what's
that? Shatner.
Oh, I thought we already did the Shatner thing.
We did not do Shatner.
You have more? All right, let's hear it.
There is more. There is more.
All right, let's hear it.
I I loved it.
Oh, I loved it too. It was great.
Some of my favorite things were, we found out Paul, so his father had shown him the video of him working out on the island.
What was that, 1965 or something?
When he was 11.
Okay.
That's all I know. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. He had never heard of it till then. And then his father passed away within that year. I'm like, oh, you know, that just gets at my heartstrings. I lost my father when I was young. And if I was in a similar situation, I know I'd be diving right in. And, you know, it's one of those, he's following the path. And I thought that was just a really nice moment to get a little bit more of what Paul's story was.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we don't see him as much.
Yeah, but you know he's there. You know he's into it. You know, he's a hardcore researcher.
So Dave is amazing, right? I love him kind of challenging Shatner.
Yeah, he jumps in.
Why shouldn't we find it? Well, there's been a lot of learned men before. And I'm like, no, go get him, Dave. Go get him.
Let him have it.
Yep. But then Craig launches into kind of like a mini speech that I really enjoyed. So I actually wanted to play that. So we could chat about it real quick.
Craig's speech, okay.
Most everybody that came along thought, it's been 10 years, it's been 15 years, there's new technology, we'll apply it, we'll solve it. And so they do. And we were very similar in thinking that, you know, we'll apply modern physics, modern ground penetrating radar, modern whatever, and come up with results. You look at anything that's been discovered, somebody was trying to discover it before that person and didn't. People fail all the time. So coming here, knowing that people have failed, that doesn't bother me for a second.
That right there. That kind of the end of people fail all the time. So obviously a lot of people failed before them. So why not? Like I've told when I was doing a lot of training in my job, I would often have to remind people I have failed more times at something than you have tried it. So don't be afraid of failure. Whenever one of these shows comes up and people are like, oh, well, that didn't work, it was a failure, and they get so upset about it, I just keep thinking, we know one more way it doesn't work.
I feel
that's treasure hunting. That's life.
Yeah, I have conversations with people all the time. I've had a conversation today with people about the secret treasure hunt that we're really into, and that we were on the Expedition Unknown episode 4 last year. Yeah. And he was, I don't know, it seems like some people like to try to bring ideas down, like if they don't think they could be a thing. But it's like, just because it didn't work for you doesn't mean you went far enough to get the result that you could have had. Maybe that is the right answer. You just didn't dig deep enough, right? So I totally feel what Craig is saying there. And yeah, I mean, if you miss something, there's no harm for trying again. You know, and if someone that failed before you, that doesn't mean you're going to be defined by that failure, because you have your own path, your own. You do your own thing, and then if you fail again, guess what? You can then try again, or you can just be a failure. But you know, even if you are a quote unquote failure, I don't think that's a great way of looking at the people that have come before, because everybody has added something to the Oak Island, like just
the journey,
everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, even though like some of this that wasn't written down was passed down, verbally, or like they say, the lore of Oak Island, it doesn't mean there's not some truth in it or some untruths. Like you said, maybe you're just missing one small piece of the puzzle, or maybe you're right, but you're just, like I said, missing that one little thing, or you have that one little thing, but you're not missing this, not seeing this other one. So for me, I love the way Craig put that. yes, this isn't specifically Oak Island. This is like life related, but I just kind of liked seeing that and hearing that from them.
I can appreciate what he had to say there. It's very good.
It is. But then the speech that has been blowing up the internet and brought a tear to my eye. I didn't actually cry, but I was like, this is why Billy's my hero. Came shortly after the Billy speech.
Okay, the Billy speech. Can we hear that?
Oh, we can, and we will.
Yeah.
And when I look around the table, you know, everybody in the history has made a lot of great effort, but we have an archaeologist, we have an engineer, we have dedicated leadership, we have people who are driven to work harder than mostly anybody that you'll ever know. We got a metal detector, we have a surveyor that brings technology that you wouldn't believe, and you can see the money pit in 3D. Nobody could ever see that before. And we have historians that tell us if we don't know where we've been, we don't know where we're going. So we have their leadership. So I think we have a better chance.
You shorted yourself, Billy. And we have a guy who has dug a lot of holes around here.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Goes the dynamite. Billy is the man.
Billy is the man, but he was given the praise all over the place.
Well, he was, and
he should be.
The whole, we have people that have worked harder than anybody you've ever known. I'm like, you get him, Billy.
Yeah,
give him a shovel and show him what hard work looks like. That, I was just very touched. Right there.
It was great.
Described the fellowship of the dig.
Yeah.
That, you know, like Rick said, Marty dubbed it. And can we agree, like after watching the beginning of the episode, Rick talks like he's from a whole different time?
Yeah, he does. He has a vocabulary that isn't common.
No, it's impressive.
He uses a lot of words that aren't in day-to-day usage anymore.
No, it's amazing.
There's probably like 5 people on Earth that use some of those words. He's one of them.
Yeah.
You know? Like, frequently, anyway.
And those around him have learned to carry a thesaurus, I'm sure. It's impressive.
It sure is. So.
But let's see here. Do I have anything else to add?
It was just great. All that William Shatner stuff was fun. It exceeded everybody's expectations because everyone was like, you know, like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Like, why are they bringing Shatner on here? How dumb. You know, like I read a lot of that.
Me too.
You know, I read a lot of that. And then the people are like, oh, it wasn't so bad. That was actually entertaining. That was pretty good. And I'm like, well, what did you expect?
There's still naysayers. I'm like, hey, stop naying.
I know. Whoa. Yeah, I know. It's a bummer though. Like there's too many naysayers, but whatever.
That's okay.
That's okay.
We got the fellowship here because we are stewards of a great mystery.
Is that what they say?
That's what Rick says. Okay. And Shatner was like, whoa. That was impressive.
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Maybe I guess we should carry on to the actual show.
Okay, sure. So the show opened up in the war room, like where last episode left off, right?
Yes.
They just got the C-14 carbon dating from the wood that they found in what could be the original money pit, or at least, you know, in that
potentially,
ballpark, right?
The goal is to see if it's within that range.
Yeah, it was the wood that was dated to 1626, or, you know, that's like the early end of the dating, and it was a sample from over 100 feet down. They were discussing that still. I mean, they've been discussing it for basically 2 weeks, right? Between the episodes. Yeah. Craig recommended that a new caisson be put in to get a man down there, basically, right?
Yeah, because Marty's like, now, okay, so what do we do now that we have this information back? It's possible that it could be original money pit. Craig says it begs for a can. Yep. I say, yes, it does. It's begging. Let's do this.
Yeah, so they're going to contact Irving Equipment. They're going to talk to Rock, the people that bring the, what was that?
The oscillator.
Oscillator. Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue. But yeah,
gotta call Vanessa.
Yeah, I got to call Vanessa up, get them down there, you know, get drilling some big can down there, huh?
Let's get some can. Let's get some hammer grab. It is time to start pulling up some wood.
It was a little bit of a, like, when they were showing the distance between H8 and where they're going to be looking to drill this new or put this new caisson in. H8 is about 25 feet away, and that's the one that they found all the really cool stuff in, you know, like the human bones, you know?
Yeah.
And, so it's kind of, I wonder why they drew attention to that on the show.
As
like,
far as
yeah.
where H8 was in comparison.
Yeah, like why'd they even bring that up? Maybe they find some more human bones in it, and they're kind of like, you know, giving you, like making you think, like, oh, what happened in H8?
Maybe.
A couple years ago.
They could be kind of referring back to the idea of the collapse and this debris field that would be of the money pit. And what's between H8 and right
could
there.
just be a big spread out, huh?
It could be. The problem is we don't know.
We don't know. The world may never know.
Or we may know soon.
Or the Fellowship of the Dig might get right on it, huh?
Right?
Yeah, so what do you want to talk about first? The work that happened over in Smith's Cove, the swamp, or the money pit?
Let's see here.
Or the uplands.
Oh, man, all these places. Let's go ahead and start in on Smith's Cove.
Okay. So they're working in the bump out, right?
Yes.
And they're doing their dig.
It's what they like to do.
It is what they like to do. So
Jack, Laird, Laird and Craig check in with Rick.
Yep.
And they're going to get approval. Well, no, they get approval from Laird to dig down next to the box with the excavator. Yeah. So archaeologist says,
go for it.
We're safe cultural wise.
Yeah, because he's probably looking at it and saying, yeah, there's no chance that that's like from 1600s or something, you know? So I think they just don't tell us that straight away on the show because they want to leave a little bit of intrigue in there. But, you know, if it was like something that's really sensitive and important, he'd probably be like, no, guys, let's take this a little more slow. You know, so he was probably hip to the groove about what was going on.
Oak Island's just a whole different ball of wax as it is, right?
Yeah. Well, I've read that Laird isn't so concerned about a lot of things in the Money Pit area in Smith's Cove because it's been so torn up over the years that, I mean, none of it's like undisturbed, you know?
Lots of disturbing.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, if it was more undisturbed stuff, he'd be, you know, taking a bigger role, I think. So.
Yeah, I'm sure that he would be willing to step in and be like, whoa, we need to kind of slow it down, if you will. But then they kind of talk about how to approach this because everyone agrees without fasteners and how it's been constructed that...
Maybe it is super old.
No, well, that maybe it can collapse.
Well, that too.
Because Craig, I mean, that, you know, he's an engineer. That's one of his first concerns.
Yeah.
They talk to Billy. They're going to dig down the front of the structure, but leave, you know.
The structure we're talking about is Mike's box.
Yeah, sorry. Mike's box. And then Craig and Jack and whoever else, they'll hand dig down. They're trying to get to the corners.
Yeah.
And they're just kind of going to take it easy. And as we see, who is it, Jack and Craig jump in the giant hole. And
it's an impressive structure, too.
It is.
By the way, you know, like not knowing what it was actually used for, like for the viewer, and probably for the guys standing there, too. It's just, it's a pretty impressive structure, you know, like what the heck is this doing, you know, under the, like below sea level?
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And as Jack points out, in order for them to do this, you are consistently waiting for that low tide, and then you have to roll the logs out and work until you're out of time.
And do it
and
again
then
the
it's
next
going
day,
to come back. It's just like this really long process.
He was wondering how big the, like, how much manpower would have been needed to do something like that. I mean, it could have been done over the course of like, you know, days or weeks. You know, it could have been a very small team doing it. But, I mean, it could have been a big team just doing it all at once, right, when there's a low tide.
Yeah, and if you've done it enough times, you know efficiently how to make it happen.
Yeah, but it's just nuts. It's just nuts that that's there below sea level. Why? I wish we had some like more solid like why. Because Jack also said something like, yeah, well, this isn't connected to the flood tunnel, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what we had been hoping. So,
yeah, nobody saw anything that looked flood tunnel related.
Nothing flood tunnel-ish. Except for those packed rocks off to the side that we saw a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's true.
But, I mean, as far as the structure itself goes, don't know.
Once they're in there, Jack notes the chunky peat at the bottom. And he's like, yeah, that smells bad. And
Oh, yeah.
that's when Craig is like, so this looks like we're at the bottom then, which would make sense if they've got down to like the peat moss and all that.
Yeah.
It just, and then we see Jack get, hit with some dirt and he literally laughs at it.
Yeah. He's like, meh.
All this buildup.
Yeah. We've
For
been waiting
how
for that.
long?
We've been waiting for that all season.
I think Jack's like laid up in a hospital bed and he's like, like, man.
He's like,
what a teaser.
he just brushes it off his shoulder. He's like, no big deal.
I'm good.
I'm good.
And Craig's like, yeah, let's get out of here. This obviously looks to be an issue. Everybody agreed ahead of time that it was very likely it could collapse. And Craig is like, yeah, it's looking more and more likely.
Yeah, but then it does collapse.
It does.
The camera shakes a lot, and, we get a rumble sound,
Of course. Let's see here.
And then it all, like half the if we're looking at it from the bump out, it's the left side collapsed.
Yeah.
And, Rick came in, assessed it and said,
Assessed it as there's a digger in there. And I was like, Rick, I now understand why they're wearing hard hats more often. But they're not here where it's a problem.
Yeah, Rick's fine.
Safety first.
Yeah.
Except for, I do appreciate them not wearing hats. It makes my job easier.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. But yeah, so it collapsed, Rick instructs them to fill in that other side, and they're kind of done with it.
I thought it was interesting. So Craig points out the lack of like the way the cross beams are, et cetera, et cetera. And Craig and Jack are kind of standing up above while Rick has decided to dive in for Billy's digging. And you hear him say to Jack, hey, why don't you come stand over here instead? Like move away. And then we see it collapse. I was like, well, Craig saw that coming. I bet you he's seen a few collapses in his time.
Clairvoyant.
Very
Sees the
much
future.
so. He does. Yeah. He does.
You know what my favorite part about that whole thing was?
What?
Nobody blamed Billy.
I know.
So good job, Billy.
Billy looked crushed, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't his fault. It was just, it was the construction, it wasn't made to be hundreds of years in the ground and, or however long it was.
And what they were saying is, for Billy, we should be okay if Billy stands off of it, extra far so that the pressure and the weight of the machine isn't pushing into this structure. So he's also using a really long arm, so he can't even see what he's digging. So he's literally digging blind and further away than where he would normally be doing it. And everyone's like, well, at least there's a second box, and let's fill it in. I wouldn't be surprised if the way it was built was with earth around it, and that's why it's kind of fallen apart.
Yeah, it wasn't made to have that side exposed. Yeah.
And that's why, was it 10X that was collapsing when the water was coming out of it, the change in pressure? I mean, it happens. That's why we got engineers, yo.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of probably the end of Mike's box for a while, huh?
Yeah. Mike had 2 boxes. Now he's down to 1.
That's okay.
That's okay.
It's still there.
Did they do any dendro testing on that? Or were they waiting?
I don't remember, to be honest.
I just don't remember hearing anything about it. But now that one's fallen apart, it seems like...
I'm sure they... Yeah. They did, didn't they? Didn't they cut off a piece and send it in a few weeks ago? And it was the 16-something... I don't know. Maybe one of our listeners could email us and remind us. Or I'm
gonna have to go back and look at those notes.
Yeah, or we could listen to one of our old podcasts, right?
Right.
Well, actually, yeah, you're right. I have notes from all this stuff.
Right.
By the way, I'm gonna put all my notes up on Facebook again because I got a good response from that a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so why not? You want to talk about the uplands?
Yes.
That's a new terminology for us
non-islanders.
People that don't go to the island all the time.
Well, I was referring to it as the upper beach before, right? Because that's what I had heard of it. But I guess that makes sense. It's still upper. It's just not beach anymore. So we're now in dirt
So
instead
basically,
of sand.
I think we have the Cofferdam, Smith's Cove, the Uplands, the caved-in area, the Highlands, and then the Money Pit, right? Is that how the flow goes?
I was going to say that's not the name of all the places on the island. But
I know,
yeah,
but,
as far as the flow goes.
In a row, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We be flowing, yo.
So theoretically, from, Smith's Cove, through all those things would be the finger drains to get to the Money Pit. And that's why they're interested.
Yes.
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 Okay, the Uplands. We have Marty, Alex, and Gary are out there, excited to get digging.
Yeah, so Marty just jumps right into that excavator. Billy must have been, he's working somewhere else.
Well, and like we learned from the Shatner episode, as Craig testified, that Marty gets bored really easily. So this explains his extra jumping in to do some scooping. Great way to mix it up.
Marty's really into the excavator.
Yes. I bet you he always wanted one growing
Well,
up.
and then he's taken Alex under his wing, and later on in the episode, we have Alex in the excavator.
Yes.
Right? So.
I was like, wow. Look at this. And at first, Alex looked a little nervous. He was like, okay, if you want me to.
Well, then I know what's going on in Marty's head. In his head, he's saying, and one day we will rule the galaxy as father and son. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly it.
Because he's the master.
Yeah.
And Alex is the learner.
Yeah, thanks.
But it's really...
for that connection there.
Billy's really the master.
Yeah,
though,
he's
right?
the king of the cove, yo.
The king of the cove, yo. All right.
Okay, so they're looking for evidence of flood tunnels, convergence points, because, as Marty points out, previous searchers actually knew more than what they know. But because we don't have the evidence of all these things in written records, you got to go back and you have to confirm and figure out where these things were.
Yep, indubitably.
Indubitably.
Yeah, so they're digging, and they find a bunch of wood. And, everybody makes fun of Oak Island for, they found wood, right? Everybody does it, we do it.
But structures are made
too,
out of wood.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking for wood. Like, they're looking, they want to find this stuff. And so I'm excited when they find it.
Yes.
And it was so the things that they found a lot of, because, sorry, Marty, you're not as surgical as Billy.
Nobody is.
So he's like kind of tearing up some of this wood, you know, but
he can't see.
Yeah, sure. But he goes and he'll dig it up and they'll splinter everywhere. But they eventually do get down deep enough to where they're able to see long planks and long pieces of what Gary comes in later and calls it, what does he call it? Like long square timbers.
Yeah. So we had a square timber and then we also had like a round log. I mean, they found several different pieces of what appear to be of wooden structures, and they're running like perpendicular to each other. Some of them are parallel. Maybe we're looking at the makings of a shaft or a convergence point. We really don't know.
Some kind of tunnel?
Just yet. It very much could be searcher, because one of my favorite things is Charles walks over after Gary's, found a nail and dates it to like 1800s, right? And he says to Charles, "Oh yeah, look at this. Oh, hey Charles, what was going on here in the mid-late 1800s?" Charles, "Oh, that's easy." He's a walking, talking encyclopedia.
You know what he reminds me of? A different History Channel TV show.
Okay.
You ever see a little TV show called Pawn Stars?
Yes.
You ever see when Rick has to call up one of his experts, and it's this guy, he's a museum curator, he walks in, they call him the Beard of Knowledge, okay? He reminds me of the Beard of Knowledge.
Yeah.
It's without the beard.
Yeah.
He's like the Mason of Knowledge.
Ooh, that's good. So we got the Mason of Knowledge has shown up.
Yeah.
And he says, "That's easy."
Yeah. He's
it's
just
the
like,
churro company.
Yeah.
And
Done.
Dunzo, right? We had a debate last week about who would be best at Jeopardy or Family Feud.
This was on our Oak Island pregame show that we do on Facebook. It's just it's not a podcast. So if you're interested in getting a little bit more of us talking about Oak Island, go to Facebook, go to our Facebook page. An hour before The Curse of Oak Island is scheduled to begin on the East Coast. That's when we do a live stream for about 45 minutes to an hour, and we chat about the upcoming episode. And we talked about...
And we debated about Jeopardy and who on, the Curse of Oak Island team would be the best for the different game shows.
Okay, but we were talking about like Oak Island themed game show too, right? So like Oak Island Jeopardy in particular. Okay. And
right now, Charles just schooled us all.
Yeah.
Well, that's easy.
Okay, I picked Charles during that the pregame show we did. Who did you pick?
I picked everybody I wanted.
You did not pick Charles.
Did we pick anybody?
I picked Charles.
Did we actually pick teams? This feels like dodgeball.
No, I just said I bet he would win.
Oh,
and you said Doug would win.
Yeah, my initial thought was Doug is super smart.
Well, they're all super smart.
I know they're all super smart, but he knows a lot of the history and such, and he's been really quick on previous episodes of bringing that stuff up. But man, Charles comes in with like the utmost confidence. I'm starting to feel like Doug's going to have to be a leader. Charles is going to have to be a leader. And they're going to have to pick, old school dodgeball style.
Okay. For a theoretical trivia game between all of the guys.
Yes. Something theoretical that we have made up.
Good. Fun. Good. Yes. All right. Back to this episode.
Back to reality. Let's see here.
Yeah, so they think it might be a beginning of a shaft. Mm-hmm. Marty wants to bring in Rick and Laird, and they say that it's, they're excited about it. Mm-hmm. And they do this. The following day, Marty says it appears to be well constructed. Laird asks if there's any record of it, and Marty says no. Mm-hmm. So then, this is the next day now, and they run around the corner, and guess who's digging? It's not Marty anymore. It's not Alex anymore.
No, because somebody's already waiting for them.
Yeah,
because he's always first on the scene when it comes to a digger.
Yeah, it'd be funny if Marty comes walking around the corner and then Billy checks his watch. He's like,
you're late.
I've been here for 3 hours, bud.
I feel like Billy must be the guy that if you're not early, you're late.
Probably.
Because he is always there before the other people walk up. If Billy is supposed to be there, he's going to be there. Do you think he manages his own calendar, or does someone just tell him to be there? I wonder if he has a need for an executive assistant.
It's all in his head. He just knows. He doesn't have to look at it.
If you need an executive assistant, Billy.
You?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right.
I'll tell him when to be early places.
He's like,
I don't need you.
He's like, I'm already there.
I'm already there.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, they show Laird all the planks and all the wood and how some of them appear to be notched. That was exciting to Marty.
Yep.
Gary says that the log they're looking at is similar to the U-shaped structure, wood from Smith's Cove. And, then we have like a little voiceover of Robert Clotworthy saying that he reminds us that it was specifically dated to 1790 or 69.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
That's a quarter of a century before the discovery of the money pit.
Which is bananas.
It's got to be something, right?
Well, that's a big deal. I mean, you want things to date before the discovery of the money pit, or else you're just looking at things from discovering and after. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, we're looking for an origin story here. Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, so that kind of wraps up that section. They're all there. I think Steve joined them. We had
Steve climbs in and says, "Let me shoot that."
Yeah, and
I giggled.
He just documents the whole thing. I guess he shoots it. He documents the whole thing.
Is that what the prison pole of truth does?
Yes.
Pew pew. I feel like that's the sound it would make.
No, it makes a bong. Bong. Yeah.
Kind of like Gary's metal detectors, like boop, 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 boop.
It's like R2-D2?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So I guess, you know what? I thought that we had something in the money pit. We didn't have any money pit this episode.
No,
I think they mentioned it briefly, but they did not go and do any drilling in the money pit. No. We didn't see Terry Matheson this episode. We didn't see the Choice Sonic Drilling guys, but That's okay. I'm sure they'll be back next week.
Oh, yeah. I have no doubt.
But we did get an amazing field trip.
I love field trips.
I know. They're your favorite part of the show, aren't they?
Oh, not my... kind of. Okay.
You really enjoy them. Like,
depends. It's a good way to mix it up.
Wait a second. When they go to Smith's Cove, you don't scream out, Smith's Cove! Okay, every time they go somewhere in a car, you're always yell out, field trip! You're excited. Okay, that's your favorite part of the show. So stop.
It's not my favorite. Billy's my favorite.
I know.
Billy's Bay. That's why I don't yell Smith's Cove. I go, Billy's Bay!
Oh, that's right. Okay, so, yeah.
But they do go to Ross Farm.
Ross Farm? You mean New Ross?
Yeah, New Ross to the Ross Farm Museum.
Ross Farm Museum. Is that what it's called?
Yes. Have you listened to the entire narration?
I thought so. I just thought it was Carmen Legg's blacksmithing
it's the
shop.
Ross Farm Heritage Museum.
All right. Well, they go see Carmen Legg.
And I schooled you. But
Sure.
yes, they see Carmen Legg and he's thrilled to see him.
He's their buddy, you know?
Oh, yeah. They're BFFs.
He's almost like a full-fledged member of the team now, you know? So
He is.
They've embraced him, and he gives them information they can't find elsewhere, right?
Oh, yeah. And I love the way he delivers information in
Do ya?
in this particular setting. It was fabulous.
Yeah. It was a good session with Carmen Legg.
Yes. So Gary, Marty, Alex, and Gary's got his, little bag of stuff.
His bag of tricks.
Yeah, his bag of tricks, and he's got them set up in what order he wants to show them because, he's looking for like the crescendo
Heck yeah,
at the
he is.
end.
Yeah.
And so what does he start with?
He shows him the thing that they thought was a spade or a shovel head.
Yeah. And he goes, no.
Yeah, well, it looks
he
like a
went
shovel.
to the point.
But it literally looks like the shape of a shovel head.
Mm-hmm.
And, Jack had suggested that, and Gary's like, you know what, mate, that's good. It's like...
It looked really good.
Yeah.
But then I kind of had like a V8 moment where I'm like, oh, man, duh, the metal's way too thin to be a spade.
Maybe it's corroded, kind of like...
It doesn't corrode evenly to like...
That's true. Hey, wait, you know what? That reminded me of something that William Shatner said. He was talking, he couldn't understand what Gary was saying at one point. I don't remember what it was.
Because H's didn't exist.
Yeah, he doesn't do H's.
Yeah.
So
we're on the History Channel.
Yeah, the History Channel, that's right. And then, kind of like the Inge. That's why he says Inge instead of Hinge, right?
Yes. It was fabulous.
Pretty funny.
That was the one point where I realized, you're right. Gary just doesn't do H's. I didn't realize that.
That's fine.
I didn't realize where the accent officially
you know what, Gary?
H is it.
Gary, you do you. It's fine.
Gary's the man.
It's no big deal.
So, anyways, he said it's definitely not a shovel. And he said it would go any place you would have like old sheet metal to cover something. And it instantly made me think of the sheet metal that we see covering holes in homes where there was a like a old wood burning stove and then it vents outside. Then there's like a sheet metal covering. It made me think, oh yeah, I could see why they'd use them on ships or on whatever common things.
Like in boxes or whatever, you seal up something with a little piece of metal, or it was probably like the duct tape of the day, right? So there you go. Yeah. And then they look at okay, so Gary wasn't sure. He's like, I think this is a pickaxe. He's like, yes, definitely a pickaxe.
Definitely
like,
a pickaxe.
Got one right.
Yes.
Right? No, Gary knew what it was. But yeah, it's like a pickaxe head. And Carmen said, well, I think one of those sides was a little longer originally because, they're probably like even. But one of them's kind of broken.
Yep.
But he, confirms that that's what that was. But something that was interesting is that type of pickaxe was common in use between 1710 and 1790.
Marty was thrilled by that.
Yeah, well, I wrote in my notes that Marty was giddy at that information.
Oh, yeah. Marty loved this trip.
Yeah, he did. I think Marty's going to go to New Ross more often. I think he really enjoys Carmen Legg.
He likes field trips, I've decided. Because he gets bored easy.
He gets bored easy, and Carmen Legg bestows knowledge onto him.
I'm definitely a Marty.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I decided that after this episode that I'm definitely a full-fledged Marty.
Yeah. So then what else do they have to show him?
Then they show him. They pull out the strap or whatever. That Gary was saying he thought was to go around a chest, full of treasure, because Gary's first jump is always to it being something
It's gotta
treasure
be something
chest
connected
related.
to a treasure chest.
Right,
Duh.
whether it's for pulling treasure up the
Gangway.
yeah, gangway.
Yeah.
Like a chain gang?
Yeah. No, like, okay, up like the slipway. How about
the
that?
slipway. Thank you.
Instead of being that one guy pushing the giant box
Yes.
of treasure across the slipway by himself, get a team of people to pull it.
Yes.
There you go.
But Carmen seemed very fascinated by it and definitely knew what it was. Like,
Yeah.
no problem at all.
He just like, he just instantly knows. Like, he's like the blacksmith of knowledge, know? Like, if Charles is the mason of knowledge, this guy's the blacksmith of knowledge. Like, he's been around this stuff probably his entire life. He knows what it is.
Well, and the way he delivers here is just it's nonchalantly. He says, "Oh, now this is interesting," and then this is off a sailing ship. And everyone's like, what?
Yeah, and he pulls out a ruler and he starts measuring it. And he's like,
Oh,
so
yeah.
A minute ago, I had the date wrong. I meant to say mid 1700s for the pickaxe head. It was the strap that we're talking about right now that was dated somewhere between 1710 and 1790. Because that was the time that it was common to use a 9-inch length strap. I think what they alluded to was that 9 inches was a common measurement on the ships for a lot of things. That's kind of what I was getting at getting from it.
It was a very common ship. Yeah, for very common size for ships between 1710 and 1790. And he just was like, just so certain. Like, and then, just another fact. You should probably know this was in a sustained fire. Like, he just keeps throwing the cookies at him. Like,
and then Marty's like, whoa, how do you know that?
Oh, whoa, hey. Oh, yeah, this is off a sailing ship. Oh, yes, it would be very common for this with this and this date. Oh, yeah, you should probably know that was in a really hot fire. Like, if someone was burning down a ship. And then I swear Marty's head just started exploding. And steam coming out of his ears and Gary is giddy and...
Oh, that's funny because I actually put in my notes that Marty giggled and asked how that could have, how he could possibly know that.
Yeah.
And Carmen said that the charred remains are embedded right into the fiber of the iron, and he's certain of it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool. I'm excited for. I'm excited for their continued partnership with Carmen Legge.
Yeah, he is definitely a wealth of knowledge as far as that goes. So
yeah, I mean,
a burnt ship, maybe.
Yeah,
in the swamp.
They kind of finished the episode by going back to Mug and Anchor to discuss with the rest of the team, right?
Yep.
So Gary, Alex, Marty meet up with, I think there was Rick and Charles and Jack. And was there anybody else? And Dave. And they get to tell them what they found out from Carmen Legge, and I think they were all impressed.
Oh, yeah, they were definitely all impressed. Marty was giving them a hard time that they were all there drinking, but they were out working hard. And
it was, it was kind of funny. Like when he told him that, the first thing that any of the guys did was Jack let out a huge long whistle. Remember? He's like, I was like, come on. Did you not watch the episode?
I did watch the episode. I did not. I do not have a note about Jack whistling.
My note says when Gary told the assembled team about the ship,
about
the strap, Jack let out a long whistle, clearly impressed. That's in my notes.
Okay. But you had me thinking that he whistled like when they walked up to the table, and I'm going, that's a little weird.
No.
Okay.
And then Jack said, "Wow, what's a ship doing down there?"
Well, haven't we been working on a theory about the ship down there?
Yeah, come on, Jack. Get up with the times.
It was this interesting idea of the ship being burnt, and I thought it was really interesting on the tale of the episode with Shatner where Paul talks about the teaser and it exploding and the ships burning, and then Dave talking about at 10 o'clock at night a giant fireball. I'm not a superstitious or, You're
not into the paranormal?
No, not... I mean, I love me some unsolved mysteries and that type of stuff, but I'm like, whoa. Maybe what's actually floating over the water is an exploded ship from the swamp.
Boom. Goes the dynamite.
Goes the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and then kind of they ended the whole thing with Robert Clotworthy, doing his ending spiel about kind of whatever he talks about,
Whatever he
But one of the things that they showed during that thing, during that little ending thing, right while the credits were rolling, they showed a new animation of the ship sinking in the swamp. That they showed this animation lots, but they had a new animation because it was on fire. So I thought you'd like that.
I did like that. They really start diving into the idea of maybe the ship got stuck when they brought it into those shallow waters, and then what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
You might as well burn it. That's a great way to get rid of evidence, right?
That's right. Yeah, I feel you.
It really makes more sense to me. I like it.
Could it be?
It could.
It could be.
It could be.
I mean, they did a lot to prove that ship. It seems pretty like, I'm not going to say it's 100% or anything, because, we all need some data, but we can have the faith that it sounds like something crazy happened with a ship in the swamp a long time ago. Set on fire and the remains were buried and, because that paved stone area, like I think Rick was saying, it was, if it was just a staging area where they were just like offloading and unloading stuff quickly, it didn't have to be perfectly level or anything. They just,
especially,
make something to make it work. And then if they weren't going to use the area and bury something there, just bury it and it's over.
It's done quickly, easily. They're picking boulders up off the beach, taking them over there. They're the right size. And no big deal.
Yep. So I guess that's the end of the episode. But then we should talk about the next time on The Curse of Oak Island. So in my notes, I have they do some digging in the swamp with Rick, Alex, Jack, and Gary, and possibly Billy, because someone's got to be running the excavator, right? And they find a cone-shaped artifact.
Yes. And we see, is it Carmen? Or someone says that's definitely off a ship.
Yeah, Carmen Lake. They take it right back to Carmen. Marty does personally, because there's like a bromance there, like
totally.
He
bromancing the iron.
Yeah, he's digging the blacksmith. He likes the information he's given because it's like hard data, It's like something he can, it's based on Carmen's expertise, but he could have something wrong too. Human error is a thing. But I mean, he's an expert, and he's all in,
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know. My first thought was it looked like the tip of like a really large, artillery, and then there'd be a shell off a ship. But then it looks like a plumb line.
Yeah, it looked like a fishing sinker.
Right.
All right, so Billy's digging in the uplands. Jack jumps down into the hole. It appears that they found a tunnel. Marty says there's a massive structure down there.
It was something like I've never seen before. Is also the other thing. That was the phone call they ended on that blew my mind.
Yeah, in the war room, how they had a phone call. Yeah, it sounded like that was Dr. Spooner, the swamp doctor.
Good old swamp doctor. That was a really good catch because I could not place the voice. And so it's very likely that it was the swamp doctor. And that would make sense because they've been spending a lot of time in the swamp. Yep,
absolutely. So that's what's next time on The Curse of Oak Island. What else do we have to talk about today?
Just to wrap up, like we said, we've been very surprised by the overwhelming amount of response that we have got from people about buying merchandise and cards and trying to figure out how to set that up. The website has been undergoing a complete revamp. So bear with me as it is not absolutely perfect, but it looks pretty good. So you should be able to go on there and get some trading cards here any moment now.
And that's www.OakIslandPodcast.com.
And
don't we have Clotworthies?
Yeah, we do. I just realized that.
Yeah,
Thank you. All right, last week's winner for the Clotworthy moment is
An old iron pickaxe, possibly used for tunneling, and found near the eye of the swamp.
Pickaxe won by a landslide. by a
by a landslide that hits Jack in the back.
Yeah, it did. Jack attack.
Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
Well, good job to everybody that voted for that one.
Thank you.
All right, now
we got 2 new ones to vote on this week. Here's the first one.
The iron strap from an old ship and found near the mysterious stone-paved area in the swamp.
Okay.
I like it. It's a good
more.
one. All right, one more.
A log, similar to the ones used to build the massive U-shaped structure uncovered at Smith's Cove last year.
Okay, they're both really good ones.
They're both really good.
I just couldn't decide. So those will be up for you to vote for.
Well, that's not up for you to decide. It's up for the listeners to decide anyway,
Yes.
so it's fine. Yeah, go to www.facebook.com/OakIslandPodcast, and you'll be able to vote on the Clotworthy moment. You could also vote on Twitter, and that's at OakIslandPod on Twitter.
Yes. And of course, they'll be hashtagged as Clotworthy moments.
That's right. If you want to reach us anytime, you can always email us, and that's at OakIslandPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, you can also find us on Instagram at Oak Island Podcast, like we mentioned on Facebook at Oak Island Podcast, and on Twitter at Oak Island Pod.
Yeah, and if you want to call us, we do have a voicemail line. We'd love to hear you call us and talk to us about whatever you want, theories, what our podcast, the show, whatever. You can reach us at 360-836-4549.
Yes, you can also find us on YouTube. Our channel is called Oak Island Podcast. Go figure that out.
Yeah, it's probably just youtube.com/OakIslandPodcast, right?
Yeah, just type
Go there, check out some of our videos. You know, you can look at our cool Friends mashup there, or our Full House mashup, or you can even catch our podcast there in the future. So
you can also do that all at our newly revamped website,
there you go.
OakIslandPodcast.com.
Yep, and remember, go to patreon.com/OakIslandPodcast, and you can get yourself signed up to support us, and we'll send you Oak Island trading cards every single month for doing so.
That's right. You're going to get them as soon as they're released. The new ones coming out here for March are good.
Yes, they are. Amazing.
Can't wait. Can't wait. New theme.
All right, is there anything else to add this week? I think that's about it. And
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So
we had a great week.
We did have a great week.
This was an amazing week of Oak Island. So
we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you on Tuesday on the live stream on Facebook, on our Facebook page at 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. There you go.
Yes. That is our pregame time.
Yeah, and you can interact with us. It's a lot of fun. So.
It is. It's a good time had by all. So, until next time.
Could it be?
Gotta follow the clues, see where they lead.
Yep. Let's go get us.
Let's go kick some Oak Island butt.